Roadrunner Rundown on Bakersfield.com and the CSUB Roadrunners Digital Network.
Off a screen, Basil, 2 seconds. Basil for the win! Yeah! We're going to the NCAA tournament!
And it's a cold strike 3 over the inside corner, and Bakersfield has done it. They win the WAC championship. And over to Sydney Haynes off the block, and the Roadrunners win
Live
it.
from downtown Bakersfield, California, here's the voice of the Runners, Corey Costello.
Hey, welcome into season number 4 of Roadrunner Rundown. It's it's gone by quick. New look for 2016-17. Welcome in to downtown Bakersfield for the program, as we got a great show for you this year. And, we're really trying to make this show this year about the people that make CSUB athletics a great spot, and whether that's student athletes and coaches and staff. And so really going to spend a lot of time with our guests this year. And our first guest coming up this season is going to be Nicola Barrett, a senior water polo player for the Roadrunners, also president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, both on CSUB's campus and for the Western Athletic Conference. So she's got some great stories and how she's made it here from South Africa to play water polo for the Roadrunners, and a lot of her leadership development, things like that. So we're going to be talking about that on the program today. And then final segment of the show, we'll be speaking with assistant men's basketball coach Jeff Conarroe. The Roadrunners unveiling their 2016-17 schedule last week, and a pretty tough slate of games, both at home and on the road for the Roadrunners. So we will speak with him about that coming up at 11:45, as we also welcome you to the new hour, live 11 to noon this year on Bakersfield.com. And, of course, get the show anytime on demand at GoRunners.com. All right, the Runners, we're in action. Fall sports are underway. And, matter of fact, let's hit some highlights. Men's soccer, they were at home last week as they host the University of San Francisco Thursday night. What a game out of Andre Glasnovic for the Dons, as he's going to make the quick save there. And then later in the first half, once again, Glasnovic challenged, and he's able to just keep that one off the line. We're scoreless at half. Second half, the Dons get on the board first. Sean Bowman sends one into the box, and it rattles around and ricochets. David Garrett gets a nice touch, finishes. It is 1-0 USF 4 minutes into the second half. Runners, though, looking to respond, and they start with Daniel Dreyer. Nice move, and then he is fouled right there in the box. That's going to be a penalty kick for the Roadrunners, and the captain, Jamie Carey Morrell, takes the shot, and that's the equalizer. We're tied at 1 apiece. Just over a minute later, though, it didn't take the Dons very long to respond. They're threatening again, and this time the cross is going to find Leon Schwartzer, who finds some space, and the finish, USF up 2-1, just under 19 minutes to play. Runners, one final chance, though, coming up in the last minute. They're going to get the matchup that they're looking for here. The pass up front, it's going to find Louis Lepuge. He already has a goal on the year, and the touch there, but Glasnovic turned away. Runners fall 2-1. Here's head coach Richie Grant.
I think what really hurt us was to lose the second goal right after we got ourselves back in the game. We were having a tough night. We never really got into a rhythm, but we had a lifeline when we got back in the game, and it was coming off the back of a good spell. So that was I think that really hurt us to lose the second goal. We have a very young team in progress. They're kind of learning on the job. They're getting a little bit better with each game. This was a tough, old San Francisco team tonight. They had good maturity, and New Mexico will be a real test for us. To go there with a big fan base. It's going to be important that we continue to grow up here in the next week, so that we're ready for that.
So the Roadrunners losing last Thursday 2-1 to San Francisco. Runners now 1-2 on the young season. They were off this past weekend, but they're going to be busy coming up this week as they head to the University of New Mexico tournament. They will take on University of New Mexico Friday at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. They will also see Missouri State on Sunday at noon Mountain Time in Albuquerque, New Mexico. On to CSUB women's soccer. Roadrunners were on the East Coast this weekend and earning a split in North Carolina. First on Friday, a good game for the Runners. They defeat Presbyterian 4-0. Amina Settles scored just 46 seconds into the match. Freshman Darian Gambetta had a pair of goals for the Roadrunners as well. Alexa Arante added a penalty kick in the second half, and goalkeeper Jen Padilla added her second shutout of the season for CSUB. Then the Runners went a little bit different spot on Sunday and had the script flipped on them as the Runners lose 4-0 to Campbell University. Both teams was second with 7 shots on goal, but the Camels able to convert 4 of them into goals in the win. Here's what's coming up for the Roadrunners this week, a home and away weekend. They will start on Friday night hosting Eastern Washington at the main soccer field. That's a 7 o'clock start in Bakersfield. And then on Sunday, they will head to Cal Poly to take on the Mustangs at 12 noon in San Luis Obispo. So Roadrunner women's soccer is off and running and had a split this past weekend. Then looking at CSUB cross country, they got their season underway at the Pepperdine Invitational. Angel Valdez had a phenomenal run, finished in 9th place out of 46 competitors, 16 minutes and 100th, finishing second for the runners, and 20th overall was freshman Paradise Pelzer. She had a 17:01 with a 2 in her first collegiate race. Roadrunner volleyball, they're in action as well. They were on the road this past weekend at the University of the UC Santa Barbara tournament. Unfortunately, swept in 3 matches. They started Friday night losing to host UCSB 3-0. Runners fell 25-11, 25-20, and 26-24. Saturday, same type of deal against Baylor. All the runners played very well in this one. They lost that first set 25-13, but then next set had to go to 29 for the Bears, but the runners away 29-27, and then losing the last one 26-24. Very close effort for CSUB. And some similar stuff on Saturday's second doubleheader. They lose 3-0 to Pitt to close out the tournament. Carol Grasso had a match-high 11 kills for the Roadrunners. Sydney Haynes was named to the all-tournament team. CSUB volleyball, they actually get a chance to be at home this weekend. This week. They're going to be taking on Sacramento State tonight. That's Tuesday, 7 o'clock at the Icardo Center for their home opener. And then they head to the University of Portland tournament, and they will take on Texas State Friday at 10 a.m. and then host Portland Friday night at 5:30, and they'll wrap up the tournament taking on Utah Saturday at 1 p.m. On to Roadrunner basketball, as we mentioned at the top of the show, a couple teams were releasing their schedules for the 2016-17 season, starting on the men's side. A couple notable games for the Roadrunners. They'll be at Arizona on November 15th. They also will take on UC Santa Barbara in Bakersfield on November 19th, and then Fresno State in Bakersfield on November 22nd. Those games back-to-back. By the way, Arizona and Fresno State, like CSUB, were in the NCAA tournament last year. A couple other games of note, runners will be at SMU December 2nd. BYU, always a tough place to play at the Marriott Center in Provo on December 22nd. Their WAC opener is January 7th against Seattle, and of course, everybody wants to know when they're going to get a chance to rematch again with New Mexico State, who they beat for the WAC title this past year. It'll be January 14th at New Mexico State, and then February 9th, it'll be in Bakersfield, as season tickets are on sale now for CSUB men's basketball. Then on the women's side, they got their schedule out as well, and apparently they're trying to be part of the Pac-12. Look at this schedule. They'll open with Hawaii and Bakersfield. They're not a Pac-12 team, but after that, they go on the road. November 18th at Oregon. 2 days later, they go to Cal. They will get Stanford in Bakersfield on December 1st at the Icardo Center. So a very tough preseason once again for the CSUB Roadrunners. Then they open WAC play on January 12th versus UTRGV at the Icardo Center, and they too will take on New Mexico State January 14th in Bakersfield and February 9th in Las Cruces. That's how the schedule will stack up for CSUB men's and women's basketball, and we're going to have assistant men's basketball coach Jeff Conarroe joining us at the end of the program to talk about the upcoming 16-17 schedule that we released last week. By the way, ticket information, GoRunners.com/TIX. Check out all the season ticket packages. Some of the new tickets options for 2016-17 as well are all available online at GoRunners.com. All right, we're going to step away and take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Nicola Barrett. She'll join us. We'll talk with her about her journey here to Bakersfield as she gets ready for her senior season in the pool for CSUB Water Polo, also as president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee in Bakersfield, and for the Western Athletic Conference. That's all coming up. And again, Jeff Conarroe into the program talking men's basketball schedule. We'll be back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Off a screen, Basil, 2 seconds.
We strive to achieve excellence through determination and hard work.
We are committed to learning from those around us.
Our professors and peers,
our coaches and teammates,
and our opponents.
We compete with integrity and passion.
And we seize our moment when the opportunity arises.
We take pride in our communities
and believe that we can inspire others, just as they have inspired us.
We may wear different colors, but we share the same purpose.
We learn, we compete, we inspire.
We are
the Western Athletic Conference.
Basil, 2 seconds. Basil for the win!
CSU Bakersfield, champions made here.
What a moment!
In a fertile valley, a growing university with record enrollment and graduates serving the needs of a thriving community. A tradition of athletic excellence.
Screen, Basil, 2 seconds. Basil for the win!
Now, champions of the Western Athletic Conference, CSU Bakersfield.
What shall I do to put myself what shall I do to put myself along by your side?
A Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Welcome back to Roadrunner Rundown, season number 4, episode number 1, as we welcome you back to the program. And still to come on the show, Jeff Conarroe, men's basketball, is going to join us. We'll talk with him about the upcoming schedule. It was released last week. A lot of good highlights on that schedule for the Roadrunners. So that is coming up. But, of course, we want to continue here in this year's version of the show to really kind of get you some of the stories and the great folks around CSUB Athletics. And one of those is she's been on the show a couple times. Matter of fact, you were on the last show last season.
I was indeed. That's it.
So you like the closer and the opener.
Yes.
I noticed that. I was like, oh, wow, we had Nicola on because that was our Rowdy show. Yeah. And so Nicola Barrett joins us, CSUB Water Polo, a senior now, redshirt senior.
Yeah, that's it, super senior.
Yeah.
I like to call it.
That's super. So are you close to undergrad stuff being done? Are you into graduate work?
Yes. Actually, I'm taking it pretty easy this year.
Oh, okay.
And my last semester here, I'll just have one class to finish my senior sim.
Okay.
Then I'm done. So yeah, very,
nice.
very close to being
right on.
It's
nice when you get to be a senior though, and you can kind of make those decisions.
Oh, definitely, especially a super senior, because now it's kind of like class in terms of class schedule. I can very much pick what I want to do, how I want that to work out. So.
Like golfing, or you're taking golf or something like that?
I'm actually taking online walking. That's a real thing.
Online walking?
Yeah, that's a real thing. That's a real thing at CSUB. Taking online walking, yeah. So.
Online walking? All right, great. Yeah. I mean, it just makes us sound like, like even lazier society than we already are. Like, I'm taking walking, but I'm taking it online because I don't want to actually walk.
I can tell you, everyone back at home has just been like, what? That's not real. And
I took I took golf because when my senior year, because I had a little extra time. Yeah. Took some golf.
Yoga,
right?
Judo, kind of what I'm filling it up with.
Whatever, yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that's worked out. And I know you spent a little bit of your summer at home. You got a chance to go. You're from South Africa.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
What was that trip like?
Oh, so nice. Actually, I got about a month at home. Just over a month, and I spent 2 weeks out in the bush, so kind of like safari, as Americans call it, with my parents. So that was awesome. It's the kind of thing where you go to sleep at night and you can hear the lions roar and they sound like they're right outside your tent. Luckily, there are fences around the campsite we were at, but it was unbelievable. Some nice, real kind of no signal time.
Yeah.
Nothing on the phone, just me in a book.
I remember right before, I think you'd posted on social media before you were leaving, like, all right, I'm leaving. I'm heading out of the bush for 2 weeks. And so what was that like being, especially, obviously the Lions part is what it is, but the zero connectivity type of thing.
That was extremely stressful for me because I think in the last 4 years, I've very much relied on having my email and everything, especially in the positions that I'm at now. But it was extremely relaxing. It probably took me like 2 days to kind of really get used to it. And I was, always asking my dad, like, is there any signal here? Is there any signal where we're going? Just so I could, just check. But it's seriously probably one of the most relaxing things I've done. I haven't done that in literally years. So being out in there with absolutely nothing, very special. Yeah.
So what did you guys do? Like, I mean, despite Dodge Lions, like, what did you do for 2 weeks?
Well, we'd wake up and everyone makes breakfast, and by 7:00, 7:30, they make sure, you can't go out of the camp until this particular time.
Right.
As you know, the wildcats, exactly, they're still hunting, yeah. So you want to make sure the sun's up. By 7:30, you would go out for a drive. You drive around the park for a while. Absolutely amazing. We got to see lions, leopards, cubs, everything. Giraffes, those are my personal favorites. They were just running across the road. We were driving, and this huge herd of giraffes just kind of started jogging across the road. It was kind of amazing. But we do that, and then after that, everyone kind of relaxes. We'll read a book, relax for a little bit. Evening, we go out again, and you have to be back in camp by 6:30, as you can imagine.
Before sundown,
before
right?
everyone starts hunting again, yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible experience, truly relaxing. And with my parents, it was me, my parents, and my brother and his family. So it really was nice to spend some time with him that I haven't done in about 4 years.
And was it about like 2,000 emails and stuff when you got back?
Exactly,
you turned your phone back on?
Yeah, I was on my way to, just as I came back, I probably had about 2 days at home before I had to come back for the WACSAC conference.
Right.
With 4 days in between that, just coming back to Bakersfield, and then the leadership conference. So definitely had a lot of things to get done very quickly.
Well, at least there's a spot like on this earth where you don't have cell reception. I was like this summer, I'm like up in the Sierras, and I was hiking like into this lake thinking, awesome, that'll be back here. And I just looked at my phone, and I had full 4G signal in the middle of nowhere.
America, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess this is 2016. So a good summer. Is it tough to leave like home and come back here?
It always is, and you think it's going to get easier kind of every year. I guess this year it started to be a little bit easier, just probably because of my last year. So, I'm starting to really want to make sure that I'm spending some time here. It's my last year, and I know by the time I leave, it's going to be very upsetting for me to have to leave and, know that I'm permanently leaving.
Right.
So this time it's always sad, obviously, to say goodbye to my mom. My mom and I are very close, especially since I've left. It's actually amazing how, like, a relationship like that kind of strengthens when you're not at home. So yeah, leaving her every time, definitely pretty hard. And she cries and cries at the airport, and makes me cry, of course. But yeah, so every time it's pretty hard, but it's been a bit easier knowing that, I'm going home now, most likely. I think I'm going home permanently. So.
Well, I was going to ask that question because I know a lot, and I guess just it depends what country you're from. But we have a lot of athletes that if they come from especially poorer countries, they're not looking forward to going back. They're trying to stay in the U.S. as much as possible, but they essentially need to go.
Yeah.
I mean, but are you looking forward to going back to South Africa and starting life there?
Well, I see. The thing is, ultimately for me, home is home. Mm-hmm. So home is where my family is. But I've definitely created a home here too. So it will be extremely difficult to leave. And to be honest, I didn't actually think there were opportunities for me to stay. From what I believed, so my visa ended in June. That's when you need to be out the country. You cannot come back in. And even if I wanted to pursue something here, my understanding was I had to leave the country, apply for a work visa, and come back. But actually speaking about a wonderful program that's starting at CSUB for athletics, they're doing a new kind of student-athlete international program. It's called the Runner Ambassador Program. Just started a couple days ago, where they're going to start educating internationals on how they can actually start applying for jobs and things before they have to go home. So I'm actually very excited to kind of just, find out a little bit about that, because I've never actually, dived deep into it and something I thought I would do, but time-wise, very difficult to kind of look for jobs and things like that.
I mean, now between your online walking class, you have a little more time to do that.
Exactly. It's really stressful. I had a quiz actually due. I'm gonna do that. Make sure I do that.
You know, it's funny you brought the work visa. We had a former baseball player, Johnny Montoya. It's one of my favorite stories of all time.
Yeah.
He's playing baseball in Austria, and he just they got done playing, and then I kept seeing his Facebook. I'm like, didn't his season end? And he's still in Austria, and he's still going to Oktoberfest and parties and just having a good time and living it up. And I finally asked him when I saw him, I said, so you had to come home? He goes, yeah. Basically, he goes, they found me on the street and said, your visa expired 2 months ago. You have to leave now. And he was just basically hanging out.
Exactly. I think I have too much anxiety to deal with that.
Yeah.
But definitely, I know some people.
Yeah, he said, I basically got deported. Like, they pulled me off the street and said, we know who you are. You should have been gone 2 months ago. Yeah, you need to leave within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So, well, that's, I mean, and that's stuff I know that the international aspect for a lot of student athletes is something to deal with. Now, you brought up the wax sack stuff and regular sack. So, Nicola is president of our Student Athlete Advisory Committee on campus, and we're elected as president of wax sack as well. How'd that all come about?
Okay, so I mean, in terms of SAC, it's been something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
When I was a freshman, some of my seniors were like, "Oh, they go to SAC," and I had no idea what it was. And I eventually, probably my sophomore year, started going to meetings, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Dalton Kelly, he was up there. You know, he was a big inspiration for me. I thought he was awesome. And then Lauren Kaufman, and all of them before, and just the things that they've been doing in SAC, really kind of represented something that I base my life around giving. And also, I'm a student athlete. I understand the student athlete experience, and I had a lot of opinions on it. And so that's something that I definitely kind of indulged myself in. I got very involved in SAC, and it was never a job for me. It was never something that I was like, oh, you have to go to a SAC meeting on Friday. It was something I wanted to do. I looked forward to it. I looked forward to, trying to enhance our student athlete experience. And then I went to, unfortunately last year actually, I went on a road trip with my cousin and my best friend who came up from South Africa, and we lost our passports. They got stolen in Santa Cruz. So I was unable to go to the WACSAC meeting last year. I kind of wish I did, but everything happens for a reason. Sure. And then, this year I managed to go, and just, I was so inspired, so motivated by everything and by all the other student athletes that were there. And you kind of realize, maybe that my sport's not part of the WAC, but at the same time, I'm not representing a sport. I'm here to represent CSUB, and ultimately, the WAC's our conference. So I found that, there were wrestlers from UVU, and it didn't matter what sport you came from. Ultimately, we're all there with the same goal, and that is student experience, and making sure, that we're speaking out for our students.
Excellent. And so you got an opportunity this year. What are some of the goals with, let's start with maybe CSUB SAC, like what are you guys trying to accomplish this year?
Well, I mean, just like kind of anything, any sport, if this is the best way we speak, last year, there were things that went really well, things that didn't go so well. And just like any sporting season, you want to improve on that every single time. So I made sure that I took notes from, last year, all our events, things like Toys for Tots, our lip sync event, that kind of stuff. And we're looking to improve that this year. We've got some goals to make $2,000 this year for Toys for Tots. And that's something that the WAC has actually set. So we'll be looking at some big basketball games, to maybe bring in some money and toys. And Ziggy's really got involved, and Dina and Cindy, they came to our SAC meeting the other day, actually, which was wonderful. So we definitely have goals in terms of money, goals to reach, and also goals in terms of just teamwork in general, getting the SAC to make sure that, we're doing things as a team. And getting freshmen and sophomores out there, because that's something that, I really wish we were really encouraging our freshmen. So when I was a freshman, there would have been an opportunity for me at this point to go into national SAC, which I would have loved to do. But unfortunately, I was only educated about it a bit too late. Right. So that's definitely one of my goals, to make sure we're bringing up potential leaders, bringing up student athletes who care about giving back, making sure they're involving student athletes in the student athlete experience. So that's definitely a big goal, is just improving on everything we can.
Awesome. And it went really well last year, and I'm glad to see things are kind of working out again this year, and you got goals. What, meanwhile, as a senior now playing water polo, what kind of goals do you have in your last season?
Well, last year, it's actually kind of funny, because I thought my freshman year, I've always compared myself to my freshman year. I don't know why, but I thought my freshman year was kind of probably my hardest working one. But last year, in terms of accolades, I made honorable mention, which was probably my greatest achievement to date. To be able to have my name there amongst Olympians,
right.
Just from all over the world, and that was really, really exciting for me. So. Definitely this year is definitely to make the team rally. We have some incredible leaders on the team this year. And making sure that, we're moving forward, potentially beat ASU and San Jose. That is a goal that we've had for a long time. And seeing as my final senior year, that's something that I really, really hope that we can do. So working hard. It's our preseason's also looking a bit different because of the semester system.
Yeah.
So we have more time. And that's a very big thing.
Now you brought up playing amongst Olympians. Now the Summer Olympics just happened.
Yes.
As you were watching Team USA win the women's gold, but how many times did you say, I played against her, I played against her? I mean, there was a lot of MPSF players in the Olympics.
Oh, definitely. Actually, I think every single one of those players has been an MPSF player except one, Ashley Johnson, the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But she'll be on our campus this year because, we like challenges.
Sure.
So Princeton will be coming down. But every single one of those players, at some point, we've played against them. I've had some great encounters with Melissa Sederman, the whole set on that team, Maggie Steffens, the captain of the team. So, yes, definitely experienced every single one of those girls in some way. So it's quite a force, yeah.
And not only now are they, the ones that are still playing college, it's not like now they're just Olympians, but the ones you'll see this year will be gold medalists.
Exactly. And even the 2012, USA won that too. So Maggie's a, two-time Olympic champion. So we'll be seeing her on CSUB campus too at some point, which is very exciting. So it should be good.
Water polo got a great run. For people, everything that happened in the Olympics, and obviously the way that, the content was delivered and that kind of stuff. I heard so many people that were watching it and thinking that actually said they wrote pieces, whether it's sports writers that said, this is the greatest thing on in the Olympics. Like they finally discovered water polo.
Yeah, so it's actually been so exciting because you start seeing all these things on social media, on Facebook, what is the toughest sport in the Olympics? And it's water polo, or, something that people kind of put out. But it's definitely been, it's cardio, it's everything, it's strength, it's endurance. It's tough at the end of the day. And, we're not only experiencing extremely tough sport, but we're doing it against Olympians.
And they were, and then they were showing the Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton training with the men's team a little bit, and it got me thinking man, we can make our men's team better in the Olympic level by putting maybe former NFL players in the pool. Big, strong guys that have great arms. Yeah. It might work.
Exactly. I've actually had some very interesting things just from CSUB athletics. Some of the coaches, one of the soccer coaches actually came to me and asked if they could get the soccer boys in the pool with us because they want to toughen them up a little bit.
Yeah.
That was, I was kind of a little bit flattered by that. Sure, we'll have. That was really
sure, we'll toughen your team up. Bring them in the pool.
Just put them in the pool for a bit.
Yeah. I did it one time and almost died. So that was fun. That's hard. There's no joke. Yeah. And I'm fairly buoyant, and it still was very hard. Nicola Barrett, our guest here on Roadrunner Rundown. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about. We talked about you being from South Africa, but kind of the journey to Bakersfield and your journey kind of growing up, and obviously your journey through water polo, and we'll get to that. We'll talk about that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be back. Still to come on the program, folks. We're going to be speaking with Jeff Conarroe as well on Roadrunner Rundown.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
We strive to achieve excellence through determination and hard work.
We are committed to winning from those around us.
Our professors and peers,
our coaches and teammates,
and our opponents.
We compete with integrity and passion.
And we seize our moment when the opportunity arises.
We take pride in our communities
and believe that we can inspire others,
just as they have inspired us.
We may wear different colors, but we share the same purpose.
We learn, we compete, we inspire.
We are
the Western Athletic Conference.
Introducing a new way to get the news. The Bakersfield Californian e-edition. It's not a website, it's the actual Bakersfield Californian right on your tablet computer, laptop, even your smartphone. All the news, features, pictures, and ads you're used to right at your fingertips. Now you can get the Californian on your schedule, anytime, anywhere, any place. Get your new Bakersfield Californian e-edition today. Visit eedition.bakersfield.com.
You know, I was the Metro columnist in the Bakersfield Californian for 10 years, and one of the recurring themes in my writing was sort of the self-analysis of Bakersfield. Who are we? Who are these people? Where do they come from? What kind of people are they? My interest in the Bakersfield sound is kind of connected to that because we are those people. We are the people who created that music. We are the people who enjoyed that music, who bought those records. Because it spoke to us in a certain way, it sort of reflected who we are. Read this book and kind of, you get a feel for, who we are.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Basil, 2 seconds. Basil for the win!
CSU Bakersfield, champions made here.
What a moment!
We are back on Roadrunner Rundown. Nicola Barrett joining us here in studio as we continue on episode number 1 of season number 4, telling some of the kind of just talking about what gets people here to Bakersfield. And Nicola being from South Africa, we talked about that a little bit. And now she's a senior. She's president of WAC SAC, CSUB SAC, and getting ready for her senior year. And how did you, people always ask you this question, like, how did you get from South Africa to Bakersfield, California?
Well, I mean, I'll make it short. So basically, I think when I was in about grade 10, we have 5 years of high school. We didn't have anything called middle school. Mm-hmm. I'd seen 2 of my sister's friends go to the States. So one of them went to ASU, one of them went Pacific. And I was like, this is so cool. You know, they're playing top tier polo because ultimately the best water polo
as we said,
college level exactly comes out of the States.
Yeah.
So I had a dream to go play in America. Had a couple of bumps along the way. I'm sure we'll definitely talk about that. But ultimately, I really wanted to go. And I actually started chatting to the ASU coach first. Because I was on my national team, I managed to go to Italy for one of our national tournaments. And he was there. And one thing led to another. And I got suggested with a couple of different schools, CSUB being one of them. And I signed with CSUB. Not disclosing all information that I probably should have. Signed with CSUB and with Jason, been probably the best coach I've ever had. And yeah, ultimately, sorry, I get so choked up about this. So signed to CSUB with Jason, and there wasn't a thought in my mind that I would ever leave. Purely because of the time and dedication that he put into my development as a water polo player. And not just as a water polo player, I mean, as a person, team sports change you.
Sure.
And this experience did.
Awesome. And when did you start playing water polo back home?
Probably when I was like about 8 years old.
Wow.
Just because my sister Laura, she was the captain of the SA women's team.
Okay.
At one point, but when she was 16 and she started playing water polo, I was always around and I jumped in the pool with them. She started playing because of my older brother. So it kind of was one thing, you know. And I was little. I used to play with under 16s when I was 8.
There you are with the water wings on and everything.
That's my sister Laura. Yeah, teaching me to swim.
Right.
I was the youngest of 5, so I got tortured a lot, which I guess made me a bit tough. So
excellent.
Yeah.
And so then you, like we see here, you're playing on national teams. How did that evolve into that?
Well, I'm left-handed, which is very kind of potent on water polo teams because I get to play on the right side of the pool. Kind of brings a different dynamic. And so when I was young, you know, I started playing for teams a lot older than where I
okay.
was.
Sure.
And ultimately, I mean, I got pushed by my sister, by my coaches, and I really wanted to. I was always very motivated with sport. And so I was 16 when I made my first national team. We went to Russia.
Wow.
It was under 21 team. It was awesome. So much fun. That was actually a picture from it earlier. The one that was jumping out. Yeah.
Wow. And then we saw a picture of you playing field hockey as well. That was your other. That was your other. You were a dual
that
sport.
That was my other love. Yes, I loved field hockey. Absolutely loved that. And I was a defender, a little bit more aggressive, kind of found most of my time was spent on the floor.
Yeah, there you are. As the field hockey player.
Yeah, that's my field hockey days.
And so you had to choose between water polo and field hockey. Like, how tough was that? And what was the difference maker that tipped water polo?
I think the fact that water polo was in the pool and not running. Running's not my thing. I could sprint all day, but I'm not running's not my favorite thing. Also, I think just the history behind it. My sister was part of water polo. I was left-handed. It was kind of a big advantage. Field hockey, absolutely loved it, and I still do. It's something I would love to jump back into when I get home into the clubs. But it definitely kind of took a back seat ultimately when in high school days. I would go from I'd be in the car. My mom's car became my dressing room. I would go from hockey practice to water polo, especially in winter. So that kind of stuff was definitely.
I'm sure your mom's car smelled awesome between wet water polo gear and field hockey.
Hockey shin pads. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta love. I mean, parents are fantastic at that age when they're getting people around. Now you and so obviously so much has gone into water polo, and you told a story at the Student Athlete Welcome Back, and if you want to share some of that with us right now, it'd be great because there was a time when it was almost like all taken away.
Pretty much. So when I was about 16, I had a really big decision to make, and that decision was based on water polo. We have a rival school called Herschel. So I was part of Rustenburg High School, and our rival school is Herschel. And we had a really big game that evening, and I really wanted to play. I was sick at the time. I had a really sore throat. And against my mom's will, after everything she said, please don't play. I really wanted to, and of course, nothing was going to stop me from getting in that pool. So I did. And it was just kind of a roller coaster of extreme emotions because I went and I played that game. I was very sick. And that night I was talking to my mom. We were sitting on her bed and I was trying to make a decision between playing for an under-19 team where I knew I'd get pool time or playing for a ladies team called Western Province. But I had to decide what trials I was going to go to because if I went to the senior ladies trials, there was I wasn't going to be making the under-19 team because I wasn't at the trials. And my sister wanted me to stay at the under-19 level. Of course, me being me, I wanted to not. I wanted to, kind of be, the highest level I could be. She was worried about my development. And so I was talking to my mom and things were just getting very emotional. And kind of mid-conversation, I don't even remember what I was saying, I completely blacked out. I passed out. And I woke up to my mom standing over me. And my mom's a nurse, so this kind of stuff doesn't usually, bother her. But I think it's very different when it's your own child. I woke up to my mom, standing over me with a couple of wet towels, and my dad was coming through the room. And I had no idea what had happened. We kind of shook it off, went to bed that night, and for 6 weeks after that, everything was very downhill. I started just passing out. I was taken out of school for a while. No one could kind of tell me what I had. No one could tell me what was going on. And that was extremely frustrating for me and my mom. So for 6 weeks, I was out of school. And then I went back to school and I passed out at school. And it's so crazy to think because, especially when I was younger than that, you always think those kids with epilepsy and the kids with, that maybe this kind of stuff happens. And you're like, well, it can't be that embarrassing, like shame, And when it's you, it's so different. It was incredibly embarrassing for me. And even though I had so many people, supporting me and around me the whole time, it's okay, it's okay. I started questioning. I was like, well, if this is happening, how do I know it's not going to happen in the pool? And like I said at the welcome back, it's like the one thing that we truly have control over is our body, especially as an athlete. This was my most important, thing to me. My most important tool was my healthy, strong body. And suddenly I kind of lost respect for it because I didn't know when I was going to pass out, and so terrifying. My hands would get really sweaty, and that's how I knew it was going to happen. I'd probably start crying before and then just black out.
So that was even worse. Like you would know it was almost coming, not like it was just a blackout. It was like, okay, here's the symptom, and here it comes again.
And that was the most terrifying thing.
It was like a buildup.
exactly the most terrifying thing was not knowing, and then suddenly my hands would get sweaty and I would start stressing out about it more. So eventually what had happened, a couple of months in, I'd passed out and I'd hit my head against a wall when I was like in class, and that triggered my first seizure.
Wow.
So I had a seizure in class, and wasn't the greatest thing. I was definitely, I was so embarrassed about it, and looking back, it's hard to say that like, it wasn't embarrassing. It really was, even though you have friends who are like, it's okay, everything's fine. You don't know what's going on. And I wake up and I felt like I'd, been hit by a bus, because every time I was so tired and exhausted, and I felt like I couldn't move on with it. And then, I was in a wheelchair eventually. I got to the point where I was lying in bed and my sister was with me, and she just brought me food actually. And I had it was almost like a burger in my hand, and she left the room, and I don't know what had happened, but I woke up and I had food like kind of all over me, and I'd completely squashed all the food that was in my hand, because I'd obviously, knew I was going to pass out, and just was so terrified. And so, it was extremely a scary experience. And my team had made it to the quarterfinals of probably one of the biggest tournaments I'd ever wanted to play, and I'd ever wanted to make the quarterfinals. And I got wheeled next to the pool to watch it from a wheelchair. Pretty heartbreaking right there.
And then eventually it all worked out. So what was it? When did they finally figure out?
Well, basically, I after that I spent a couple of weeks in hospital. I had actually one of my capping ceremonies for water polo. It was one of the coolest events, and I'd gone to see the doctor, and he was like, "You're not going anywhere. Like I'm admitting you right now." So I didn't even get a chance to go home. I was absolutely broken about it. Felt like everything was kind of been taken away. Sorry. And then. So after that, I spent a while in the hospital. And they did tests, they put me in sleep labs. They put me, I used to have pictures of like a ton of cords from my head, like epileptic things that they were, testing. I started getting iron infusions. They found that I was extremely anemic, and that obviously wasn't helping anything. Right. So I would sit there with a liter of iron in my IV, and after a while, I was getting so frustrated, because I was in a hospital with, a ton of people who weren't mobile like I was, and I was getting up every day wanting to walk around, and everyone else's life was moving on and mine wasn't.
Sure.
And no one could tell me what I had. Eventually, they diagnosed me with epilepsy, so I was put on epileptic medication. Slowly, things started getting better. They did tell me I had encephalitis straight after I'd passed out, and that was due to being sick. So they think that's kind of where it all started, being sick in the pool, and I went and played, That's the thing that athletes don't understand. Exactly. The thing athletes don't understand is, if you're really sick like that and you have an infection, you're putting your heart rate up, you're just pumping it around your body. It's not great, and that's something my mom's always actually told me, and of course I went against her that day. And now it's affecting me. But after that, I had epileptic seizures. There were seizures, not even epileptic. And then I came to America, and I'd got better, and I'd started playing my final year before I came to America. Mm-hmm. I started getting better, and I would still pass out, but it wasn't as frequent. And there were things that, I was like, well, I have epilepsy, and now I'm on this medication, and things were slowly kind of working its way out, but I was still passing out. Something that I didn't tell Jason when I arrived, when I applied for my scholarship here. Ultimately not the best thing I've done. I made it through my preseason. Then we got to season, and we were playing Pacific, and the score was, I think it was 10-all. It was a draw. Yeah. We had 20 seconds, and we had the ball. And during the game, I'd been kicked in the head. And I got out, and I was really emotional. I was crying, and I got back in the pool. I said to Jason, I was like, I'm fine. Just let me go back in. Got kicked again. And that time I knew something was, going pretty wrong. And I got out the pool, and Jason was like, you need to go to the trainers. And my assistant coach, Amanda Sept, was like, we're taking you now. I was like, we've got 20 seconds. Like, let's just sit here. And I sat on the bench, and I fell over. I had a seizure. Hadn't told anyone what I had.
Gotcha.
So because of that, everyone kind of freaked out. They were like, something's seriously wrong. And I had firefighters strapping me down onto a board. And I woke up so terrified. I was being taken away from literally my team. I didn't know what hospital I was going to. I didn't know where I was. I had no one that I knew. None of my family members. No one could tell anyone, what I had. And so the more I told them, I was like, this is something that I have. Like you can relax.
Right.
I started
it just happens all the time, guys. Don't worry.
Don't worry. The more I started struggling, the firefighters actually started duct taping me down over my straps. Yeah. So they tied me down, and then they started literally, because I started struggling and I was trying to so one of our teammates phoned my mom, and mom was like, it's okay, like she's fine. Yeah. And they were like, what? Like, so yeah, that was my Grey's Anatomy moment coming out of the hospital. Woke up to Jason sitting next to me. They told me I had a concussion, which I did. Yeah. And he wheeled me out to my entire team and all their parents in the waiting room. Definitely Grey's Anatomy, felt very cool. Getting wheeled out and they were clapping for me. And that's when I guess our conversation about what my past kind of looked like.
Yeah, no, I mean, that obviously is such a crazy journey, because you go from, as you said, when it started, you were making a decision between, hey, do I go to play in this team or this better team? And all of a sudden it's gone for a while.
Completely. And that was extremely terrifying.
Well, I mean, the good news is you're still here.
I'm still here.
And everything is well, and you're having a heck of a year.
Exactly.
And you're going to have a heck of a year. And good luck this season.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for sharing your story. I mean, everything from just how you got here to the struggles, and I know it's definitely is encouraging for a lot of folks out there. So we appreciate it, and we will check in throughout the year for sure, because you guys are gonna have a lot of stuff going on between SAC and water polo.
Exactly.
So, awesome.
Cool.
All right,
Thank
Nicola,
you so
thanks
much.
for joining us.
Thank you.
When we get back, folks, we're going to talk a little basketball schedule. Assistant coach Jeff Conarroe is with us as the Runners have unveiled their 16-17 schedule. We'll be back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Off the screen, Basil, 2 seconds.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Introducing a new way to get the news. The Bakersfield Californian e-edition. It's not a website, it's the actual Bakersfield Californian right on your tablet computer, laptop, even your smartphone. All the news, features, pictures, and ads you're used to right at your fingertips. Now you can get the Californian on your schedule, anytime, anywhere, anyplace. Get your new Bakersfield Californian e-edition today. Visit eedition.bakersfield.com.
We strive to achieve excellence through determination and hard work.
We are committed to winning from those around us.
Our professors and peers,
our coaches and teammates,
and our opponents.
We compete with integrity and passion.
And we seize our moment when the opportunity arises.
We take pride in our communities
and believe that we can inspire others,
just as they have inspired us.
We may wear different colors, but we share the same purpose.
We learn, we compete, we inspire.
We are
the Western Athletic Conference.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes, we're developing tomorrow's leaders. From lessons learned during competition, for more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Welcome back to Roadrunner Rundown. Final segment of the show. My thanks to Nicola Barrett for joining us. You get the show anytime online at GoRunners.com if you missed any of that interview, and we'll have it up available on the website later today. Joined now by assistant men's basketball coach Jeff Conarroe as the men's basketball team put out the 2016-17 schedule last week. Coach, good to see you again. How you been?
Oh, been great. It's been a crazy spring and summer.
Yeah.
It's been exciting for our program. The recruiting trail has been awesome, and man, that semester transition, or quarter to semester transition, has been fast, and we're back in school and got everybody on campus, so things are rolling for the Roadrunners.
It's got to help you a little bit to have the guys back and they can work out a little more and that kind of stuff, as opposed to a few weeks down the road where we're normally at.
Yeah, there's no question. It was a little bit different for us this year just because, where most teams are home during the month of May, we obviously get to work out during that time period. And then this summer, we had everybody on campus doing camps. It was a great summer academically. The whole team was there, and to have them on campus working was also good. But then to get them back early, so we really had to be careful about how we planned everything out to not hopefully burn anybody out or anything like that. But pretty far along, especially on the court, feel really good about where we're at.
Awesome. Let's talk schedule real quick. And I know some of the highlights in the schedule. I mean, the official season opener is November 12th against San Diego Christian. There is an exhibition on the 9th against the Masters College. But one of the big highlights is November 15th at Arizona, a team that was in the tournament last year and, as you said, are opening up pretty highly ranked.
Yeah, Coach Barnes really made an effort after last year's success to upgrade our schedule, and it starts with Arizona. They're ranked 12th preseason by ESPN, had one of the top 5 recruiting classes in the country, and so it's a great test for our guys with our returning backcourt to kind of, as a measuring stick to see where we're at and kind of go against the best and give it a shot, so we're excited to go down there. Our program, I think, hopefully we're up for the challenge.
Sure, and that was that is another. Anytime you go to the NCAA tournament and then you have that next year, you get a chance to play other teams there in the tournament. I mean, that's just good, promotional material.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully it'll help with recruiting a little bit too. Maybe their recruiting success will wear off on us a little bit.
Yeah, and then a great stretch of home games coming up after that. I mean, UC Santa Barbara on November 19th and Fresno State on November 22nd. Fresno State also in the tournament last year. Yep. I mean, that game, tickets go on sale October 1st. I wouldn't be surprised if that game sold out by the end of October before November even rolls around. But both those programs, both with Santa Barbara's success in the Big West and what Fresno State did in the Mountain West last year.
Yeah, we were excited to get Santa Barbara on the schedule. We know that that's an old-time rivalry for everybody in this town and in the community. And so to get them back on the schedule would be good. They always have a great program. Their coaching staff is very good. And so that'll be a big test for us. So we definitely don't want to overlook them before we get to Fresno State. But, that's the big elephant in the room. We haven't beaten them yet. We've been close an awful lot. And we've had some great games with them. But, obviously that would be something that we would like to add to our resume. And to get them coming back here, that's an exciting thing. And that time of year early on, it should bring a pretty good environment to the Accardo Center. Weeknight game, no football to really compete with on a Tuesday night. So hopefully it's sold out early, like you said, and we encourage everybody to get out to that game.
Yeah, October 1st is when the single game tickets go on sale. You can guarantee now by buying season tickets, but single game will October 1st, and I think that's going to take a few weeks, and that one will be packed up for sure. A tournament this year, 3-game tournament in 3 days, right around the Thanksgiving weekend. North Florida, North Dakota, and Wright State in Dayton, Ohio. That one is that's a 3 games in 3 days type of deal. What do you guys kind of get out of those type of tournaments early in the season?
Well, it's a couple things. First of all, it's an opportunity to play a couple NCAA tournament teams from last year, so that helps us. And then the other thing is to play 3 games in 3 days, especially with trying to figure out a bunch of new guys in the front court and good rotations, see how deep we are. You kind of learn a lot about your ball club in a short amount of time. So I think that's why Coach Barnes put that on the schedule and, early on get a chance to go somewhere where we can focus on basketball, focus on each other. Historically, historically, the last 4 years, we've had a couple of these multi-team exempt tournaments, and they've all been very fruitful for our program as far as growth and development. And we haven't always had the best record in them, but it helped us kind of take the next step as a program. Even when we went to Utah State a couple of years ago, right before Christmas, we hadn't been playing very well. And over the course of those 3 days, we almost beat Utah State. It was a really close game, and then we ended up beating Idaho State, and it kind of started a run for our team that year, and we feel like these are good things for us, especially preparing for the WAC tournament where you got to play 3 games in 3 days.
And a couple other big non-conference games at SMU on December 2nd. They're always a top-notch program. Last year they were top 25 all year, but they were ineligible for the NCAA tournament. And then, also BYU in Provo on December 22nd. That's college basketball folks know that's one of the toughest places to win at in America.
Yeah, first of all, going to SMU went to Stanford last year and beat Stanford at Stanford. Yeah. So for us to go down there and play them on their home court, they have almost everybody back. They did have a coaching change, but they're going to be really good, really, really talented. And then BYU, that's going to be a tough test for our guys. And so these are good, great environments to put our guys in and see if we can respond to the challenge and kind of prepare us for conference play, because, we're going to have the target on our back now. It's not, we can't sneak up on anybody anymore. So, teaching our guys how to prepare every night for battle is important this year.
And the conference schedule opens on January 7th against Seattle at the Accardo Center, but only one, I think it's one of the first 7 are at home. Very similar to last year. I mean, the first 6 or whatever it was were on the road, and then you kind of had it backloaded with home games at the end of the year. So very similar with a lot of road games early in conference play. But you brought up the kind of having the target on your back, but also it seems like people know how you're going to play, right? I mean, they know we're going to be tough defensively, and that's going to really help the team win. So you have that target this year.
Absolutely, and that one of the things that we were able to do last year is focus on just getting better and playing the way we play. We talked a lot about that internally and with our guys, and not spending as much time preparing for opponents, but preparing ourselves and really focusing on what we do well and making sure that we have steady improvement over the course of the year. I like our conference schedule. I think it sets up favorable for us again to kind of be playing well at the right time. And if we can survive early on the road, it'll put us in position to have a nice homecoming. It's nice to be home in February.
Right.
I know that. There's a lot of things you get a lot better going into the conference tournament. So.
Yeah, for sure. And, this team is going to look a little similar. Like you said, you're going to have, and I keep telling people we're going to have the best backcourt in the league. The guards are there. Yeah. But there's a lot of change up for, in the front court. You got a lot of new guys, but it looks like these guys are the really prototypical players that you want to sort of replace guys like Kevin Mays and Ali Ahmed.
Yeah, we've really been able to recruit the guys that Coach has wanted, and we've the guys that came before, even back to Isaiah Grayson, Javante Maynard, Brandon Barnes, they help us put a foundation in place for this program. And now we've been able to kind of continually upgrade our recruiting and keep pushing forward. And now we got a group of guys that are really fast, really athletic, and really fit Coach Barnes. So it will be a little bit different. There's going to be a lot of new faces, but I think that we're going to be an exciting, fun team to watch. I think we're going to play really hard like we always do, and I think that it's going to be, we have a chance to have a pretty good team.
And 3 freshmen this year, which is something we haven't had in Coach Barnes' time. 3 true freshmen, and they're very talented as well.
No question. They're talented. That's a testament to what our administration has done on campus with the new dorms and what Ziggy and Dina have done with the new academic center, the Kegley Center. It just has allowed us to recruit a freshman that have mom and dads that are comfortable on our campus now, and with the athletic program that our administration has built. And we got 3 great freshmen. We're really excited about the future of our program. And I think signing day we're going to have some more exciting news, and we feel like we're really moving the program forward with as far as that goes with recruiting and having freshmen and hopefully you get young guys in your program and you can help them develop over the course of 4 years and they grow and they get stronger and they really buy into the program. It just helps your program be that much more solid over the long run and especially establishing our brand of basketball.
Yeah, and Coach, thanks so much for joining us,
Yep.
and good luck this season. We'll definitely talk more hoops as we get closer. Again, November 9th is the first exhibition game, so it's right around the corner.
Absolutely. It's coming fast, too fast.
It's coming fast, absolutely. All right, Coach, thanks so much.
Yep,
all right,
absolutely.
folks, we're going to get out of here. Get the show anytime online at GoRunners.com, and you can join us each week as well here on Bakersfield.com from 11 to noon on Tuesdays. And next week, more runner highlights and more great stories from around CSUB athletics. We will see you then. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.
Off the screen, Basil, 2 seconds.